actually take a chance at Mike Tyson not being able to do what he used to do. Because that's what he's doing. The gamble is, like, there's not a chance in hell that Jake Paul would survive.
Joe Rogan recently revealed the shocking details of Jake Paul's fight contract with Mike Tyson, making it seem less like a boxing match and more like a dramatic Netflix series, complete with a guaranteed 6-season renewal.
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, 20 and 40. I think that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight.
The real punches weren't in the ring, but buried in a contract thicker than Tyson's legacy. Every jab, duck, and stare down was likely choreographed with more precision than a Broadway musical.
He's fighting big money fights and fights. It almost seems like that he's like for sure gonna win to keep his record nice, which is like this last guy was.
Yeah. How did a 57-year-old Mike Tyson end up trading punches with a 7-year-old Jake Paul? Watching that fight felt less like a sporting event and more like front row seats to a high-budget circus. Now, thanks to Rogan's explosive revelations, it appears the entire spectacle is more of a business deal than an actual boxing match, complete with contracts, performance clauses, and possibly even scripted moves, all part of the setup.
They're not of similar ability. Mike Tyson's one of the most gifted fighters ever created. Jake Paul, who knows how good he is? He fought one actual boxer and he lost that fight. We don't know how good he is.
On one side, you've got Mike Tyson, boxing's most feared heavyweight, a living legend whose name commands respect. On the other, Jake Paul, social media's ultimate disruptor turned boxing's biggest wild card. When this fight was announced, it wasn't just boxing fans who were stunned. The entire internet exploded. How could this even be real?
Jake Paul is fighting Mike Tyson, and I gotta know, you know, like he's a lot younger, he's half his age, and he's training around the clock for the last few years.
People couldn't wrap their heads around it. Tyson, a man known for crushing opponents with ferocious power, was stepping into the ring with Jake Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer who mastered the art of making people hate watch his every move. It felt like a Hollywood crossover event, and that's where things get interesting, because some believe it was all scripted, a carefully orchestrated spectacle, rather than a genuine fight.
The Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight.
Interesting.
Script.
How so? What do you mean by
It's just
script?
weird. It's just
Like scripted in what way?
no, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so it's odd, bro.
When whispers of a so-called fight script began circulating, it added a whole new layer of chaos. According to an alleged leak, the fight's outcome had been predetermined, with specific punches, dramatic knockdowns, and a Hollywood-worthy finale, all planned in advance. The idea sounded too crazy to believe, until you looked closer. Joe Rogan, no stranger to combat sports conspiracy theories, didn't hold back. He dissected the fight with brutal honesty, calling out moments that felt more like a choreographed action scene than a legitimate boxing match. His take: if there was a script, they certainly stuck to it in some suspiciously accurate ways.
No, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so it's odd, bro.
The timing. It's a timing.
I mean,
He
it's
fights
obviously
two-
odd.
No, he fights two no-names, beats them both.
Well,
and
the
then,
whole Jake Paul thing is like,
This wasn't the first time celebrity boxing faced accusations of being more WWE than WBC. Jake Paul's fights have long been magnets for controversy, with past opponents suggesting fight fixing and odd contract clauses. Tyson, despite his legendary status, isn't unfamiliar with making business-savvy decisions either. Put these two together, and suddenly the idea of the fight being scripted doesn't seem so far-fetched. The alleged leak described moments like Jake surviving an early onslaught, staging a dramatic comeback, and Tyson losing gracefully to set up a potential rematch. These events lined up almost too perfectly with what actually unfolded. Rogan didn't outright claim a fix, but his pointed analysis left many fans questioning what they had just watched.
this, not necessarily Mike Tyson, but it was something like this, like he'd actually get a fight with like Canelo and just get mobbed and be like, well, of course you lost to Canelo, but get a massive payday. But now it seems like it's this.
Whoa.
This one was really random to me.
Then there's the business angle. Think about it. Tyson and Paul are both masters at creating viral moments. A fight this big wasn't just about bragging rights. It was about money, influence, and media dominance. Why settle for a one-time payday when a perfectly staged rivalry could guarantee a rematch or even a trilogy? Pairing him with Tyson wasn't just a fight. It was a calculated business move designed to dominate headlines and break pay-per-view records. Still, many hardcore boxing fans hated every second of it. To them, it felt like a circus, a freak show mocking the sport they love. But even the loudest critics couldn't stop watching. Love him or hate him, Jake Paul knows how to stay relevant, and Tyson's name still carries weight like no other. Together, their combined star power created something bigger than boxing. It was sports entertainment on steroids.
It's like Matt always says, play to your strengths.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
but you know,
doubt.
you got to take that payday. I mean, what did he make out of that fight? He probably made $10 million or something.
Yeah.
This brings us back to Joe Rogan's brutal analysis. His deep dive into the fight wasn't just about calling out suspicious moves, it was about defending the integrity of combat sports. Rogan has spent years breaking down real fights and celebrating authentic warriors. Seeing a fight that appeared staged didn't just disappoint him, it struck at the heart of everything he stands for. Was it all just a clever marketing stunt, or was it a legitimate fight that looked too cinematic to be real? Maybe the truth doesn't even matter. Tyson versus Paul wasn't about winning or losing, it was about dominating the cultural conversation. In that sense, whether scripted or not, they both won. When Jake Paul and Mike Tyson squared off, it wasn't just a fight, it felt like a scripted blockbuster. The bout was packed with almost two perfect moments, leaving fans and experts alike questioning whether this was real boxing or just another Hollywood production.
About this, it's not what boxing's about, is it? It's about two fighters of similar ability, training really hard, finding out who the better man is. They're not of similar ability. Mike Tyson's one of the most gifted fighters ever created.
Seeing Mike Tyson's loss was heartbreaking for boxing fans. Many never imagined his legacy would unravel like this. Jake Paul's resilience also raised eyebrows. His ability to absorb punishment seemed almost superhuman, especially against a puncher like Tyson. Critics noted that Paul, despite limited experience, stayed composed under pressure, using defensive tactics far beyond his known skill set. Joe Rogan found this suspicious, calling out moments where Paul's survival seemed unnaturally timed. The analyst broke down the fight in detail, highlighting Tyson's measured pacing, noting how he appeared to pull his punches at critical moments, giving Paul room to recover and retaliate. This behavior was unusual for Tyson, whose historical fights often ended in the first few rounds. Rogan also questioned Paul's defensive moves, which appeared strategically precise and almost rehearsed, further fueling suspicions that the fight may not have been entirely genuine.
He's younger and he can move his feet around. So again, from round one, nothing surprised me so far. Connects with a quick 1-2 combination, timing appears slightly off. His punches a fraction slower.
Move his feet around so again from round one, nothing surprised me. A quick 1-2 combination connects, but the timing seems slightly off. The punches lacked the usual force, and things got even messier when Joe Rogan dropped a bombshell about the fight's contract. He claimed to have seen excerpts from what he described as an unprecedented agreement between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. If true, this document contained clauses that could entirely reshape how fans view the fight. Here's the bombshell that's got everyone buzzing. According to Joe Rogan, the contract for Tyson versus Paul was less about combat sports and more like the Hollywood blockbuster. Yes, you heard that right. Apparently, there were actual clauses dictating what could and couldn't happen in the fight. One of the juiciest details, Tyson supposedly had a no-knockout clause after the 5th round. Wait, what? A man who built his career on knocking opponents out quickly was now contractually obligated to pull punches.
You said that if Mike Tyson, I think even if he loses, it's like it affects his legacy. But at the same time,
No, not
the
really.
money's so good. It's like,
Yeah, but
why
you
give
think
a
it-
fuck?
Here's the twist. Rogan wasn't alone in his suspicions. He pointed to a growing trend in big money exhibition bouts. Contracts designed to maximize entertainment, not necessarily integrity. These deals, focus more on spectacle than sport, have been around for a while. Who cares about boxing's purity when you can make millions off a fight that's more about showmanship than skill? These contracts aren't about the art of fighting. They're about who walks away richer, more famous, and with extra zeros in their bank account. It's not really about boxing, it's about storytelling. It's the kind of thing that makes you ask, wait, was this whole thing scripted? But maybe that's just the reality of modern day sports.
I believe that he was making the money he says he's making. Showtime Boxing wouldn't have gone out of business, and Showtime would have made sure they kept paying him.
Dana White, known for his unfiltered opinions, went off in classic Dana style during an interview. He scoffed at the idea of fighting an old guy and doubled down on his belief that celebrity boxing is killing the sport. But let's be real, Jake Paul didn't stumble into the boxing world by accident. His rise has been as carefully plotted as a Hollywood action script, complete with trash talk, call-outs, and headline-grabbing feuds. The real question is he a legitimate fighter or just the sport's most brilliant manipulator? Paul started as a YouTuber, pulling pranks and making over-the-top vlogs. But somewhere between launching a merch empire, he decided to reinvent himself as a boxer. To everyone's shock, it worked. His fights became major events, generating millions in pay-per-view revenue and making boxing cool again.
Jake Paul Who knows how good he is? He fought one actual boxer and he lost that fight. We don't know how good he is. That's up to him to prove. Because he's certainly not done it last night.
So, is Jake Paul a legitimate boxer, a marketing genius, or a media manipulator? The answer might be all of the above. He's built a career where every punch, tweet, and call-out serves one ultimate purpose: keeping the world watching and paying. Loving or hate him, you can't deny the hustle, and in today's fight game, that might be the real heavyweight title. Here's the big question. Should legends like Tyson really risk their legacies for these modern spectacles? Is it worth it? Should the greats just hang up their gloves and let the real fighters have their time? And now, for the million-dollar question. What happens next? The Paul Tyson circus has set an interesting precedent for future celebrity boxing matches. Joe Rogan has already raised the alarm, worried that this could be the beginning of the end for legitimate boxing.